So hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And this is episode 7 of Yash Talks About. And today I have brought a very special guest. He is one of the coolest teacher I have ever met in my life. Like when he comes to class, he brings a lot of energy with him. And जब सर बोलते हैं तो ऐसे लगता है बस बोलते रहे और रुके ही ना. He is Avirat Shete, owner of Shete Institute in Kalyan. And yeah, he's such an inspiration for me. And it's great to make a podcast with you, sir.
Likewise, I really always make sure that whatever my students are doing, whatever new things they are doing, I should be able to support that in whatever way possible. And I'm really enjoying this thing that you're doing. I personally do a lot of live sessions myself, but the
Yeah.
setup that you have made, the professional mic, the background, that is something really
Yeah.
inspiring for me also.
Yeah, that's my flex, sir. I have bought it from my own money, no single penny from my parents. So that's my flex. Yeah, so talking about sir is like a very cool person. Like मजा ही आता है. मतलब he never taught me anything. And like he teaches to commerce students and I was from science branch. But yeah, when he comes to class, he brings a lot of energy. But let's know about how sir started their life. What was it being a youngster, sir?
All right, Yash, and all the viewers out there. First of all, I was born and brought up in a very typical middle class Marathi family. And I saw my father starting Shetes when I was in school. And then as I grew up and went into college, the institute also prospered well. But after I finished my 12th standard exams, my father told me that no more pocket money from now onwards. If you want to get money, you will have to earn it. And I was like, who will give me a job? I have not even cleared my 12th. I have just appeared. So he said, I have got a job ready for you. You will have to come and work at Shetes. And he made me work at least, I think, 4 to 5 hours every day. I got salary. But the kind of work that I did was everything right from झाड़ू मारना, लाइब्रेरी अटेंड करना, कैश हैंडल करना, कैश गिनने में गलती हुई तो सबके सामने गाली खाना. No special privileges for being the mamu. You know what is mamu?
Yeah.
Malkacha mulga. So no special privileges for that. And I really thank him for that because since I worked right from the root, from the ground level, I realized the importance of each and every person. I did not get to sit in the chairman's cabin directly. I had to work my way. So from 96 till now, 2020, I am still at Shetes. First, it was as a non-teaching staff, as a helping staff. And then during my post-graduation, I started teaching at Shetes.
Yeah. And your students are like, Avi sir to ekdam coolest sir hai. Avi sir ke lecture mein maza aata hai because the stories you tell, the way of your teaching is like way interesting. And तुमच्याशी जेव्हा बोलतो, like when I talk to you, I never get feel of sir. It's like मी कोणत्या तरी माझ्या मोठ्या भावाशी बोलतोय. Like मी ओके दे अंडरस्टँड दिस अँड या दॅट्स ग्रेट. असं मला असं वाटतं कधी कधी की तुम्हाला फक्त असं अभि सर नाही अभि दादा म्हणून बोलावा.
Thank you. So I personally always like to get down to the level of any person. Matlab, if I'm teaching 11th standard student, I will try and get down to the level of that student. If I'm teaching a TYBCom student, I will try and get up to that level. Yeah, and when I'm playing with my 7-year-old nephew, Vihan, I will become a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Because only then I will be able to enjoy at the same time you or Vihan or any student will also enjoy. When I started teaching at that time itself, my father had told me that the flow of knowledge should always be like this. So we teachers are here, the student is here. We cannot expect them to come up. We have to get down to their level. And you will find this common trait with all popular teachers, not just me. All your teachers whom you love, like, and respect, they all have this common trait. They will come down to your level. They will make the subject easy for you. And one more important thing, teachers like me, we always teach with the why. So it is not just the what and the how. ये क्यों हुआ, ये treatment ऐसा क्यों, इसके 4 steps क्यों है. So when you as a student, you understand it, you get confident. You think, wow, if sir has taught it like this, I just have to, follow
Yeah.
these steps. Or if
Yeah. Yeah.
something new comes up, something out of the way comes up, some offbeat question comes up, you are also ready for it because you know the why.
Hmm. So, sir, what was more difficult, being a chairman of Shete's Institute or being a non-teaching staff?
I am, by the way, I am not a chairman yet. I am a director of academics. My
Okay.
father is still the chairman, although he does not take active part in the classes anymore, but he's the founder of whatever we are, whatever Shete is because of him and his work. So long as he is there, he will be the chairman always. And me
Yeah.
and my brother and my uncle, we three are the directors. So, being director of academics and handling teaching is definitely more
Hmm.
enjoyable for me because I love the stage.
Yeah.
I love the stage right from my school days. Again, thanks to my teachers, thanks to my parents, thanks to my grandparents for encouraging the um, various non academic activities. Also, they made sure that I participated in elocutions, in essays, in debates, then quiz competitions. I think when I was in primary, I participated in Bhagavad Gita and Stotra competition also. So
Hmm.
it makes your brain much more active. And now from my voice, it may not be, you may not know it, but at that time in my school days, I won a lot of singing competitions also.
Oh.
So and because of that, I never feared stage. I was always very comfortable on stage. So when I started teaching, it was just a different stage. And
Yeah.
because my basics were strong, thanks to my teachers, so basic strong, no stage fear, and command over language because of a lot of reading,
Hmm.
all three combinations made me successful.
Yeah. And sir, talking about stage, you have been a TEDx speaker. What was that experience like?
Oh, that was a beautiful experience. Actually, TEDx, for those who do not know, TED is a platform where the world's best speakers are invited to speak. And the TED, which happens outside America, is called TEDx, an extension of TED. So TEDx was happening in Thane, and fortunately, the organizers knew about my passion for traveling, and they also knew about my background as a teacher and a speaker. So they contacted me, and I was shortlisted among one of the speakers. And the theme of that TEDx was game changer. So all the speakers, 10 to 12 speakers, were all game changers. And I spoke about be a traveler, not a tourist. So there are many people who are tourists, they go for typical holidays, typical
Hmm.
3-star, 4-star, 5-star, those same hill stations. Year after year, they'll go to the same hill stations or beaches.
Hmm.
But they will never explore, they will never go out of the way. So
Hmm.
my talk was all about being a traveler, experiencing the local culture, experiencing the local food, staying with the locals, staying in a tent, staying without electricity, traveling on a very minimum budget, and facing some hardships also, but yet enjoying those hardships. So I shared all my different experiences of traveling in Kenya, in Australia. At that time, I had not gone to Everest Base Camp. I did Everest Base Camp just, I think, around 8 to 9 months after that talk. Otherwise, I
Oh.
would have been able to include that also. So basically, it was all about how you can go down to the grassroots and enjoy being a traveler. So when you are a tourist, you only see things from the surface. When you are a traveler, you dive deep and you
Yeah.
can actually enjoy the culture of the place.
Yeah. So sharing my thing, it's in my bucket list to at least give a TEDx talk. Like I want to be on that stage, but let's see what happens in the future. But sir, uh, how you went to traveling? Like being a teacher, being teaching background, and being traveler is two different fields. Like they are two really different fields. So, what motivated you, or what gave you a chance to be a traveler?
So 2005, I bought my first SLR. At that time, it was not a DSLR. It was a film camera. They used to put a roll inside.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if you people are aware of the roll thing. So
2002,
there are
2002,
reduced to only
2003.
36. Yeah, only 36 photos. And
Hmm.
SLR, basically it's a single lens reflex. So you can attach a lens, you can detach that lens, and you
Hmm.
can change the lenses. That's why it is called SLR, single lens reflex. Nowadays, because of the digital, it is DSLR. So I bought
Hmm.
my first SLR in 2005, and I was using it to click pictures of my family members and my daughter, who was just 1 year old at that time. And
Hmm.
my childhood friend, in fact, second generation friend, my father and his father were also friends. And he and me are
Hmm.
also friends, Dr. Ajit Deshmukh. He
Okay.
was planning a trip to Kaziranga in March of 2006. And
Hmm.
he asked me if I would like to go. Till then, I had never traveled to any wildlife destination.
Okay.
Till that time, I was also typical tourist, you can say. So my
Hmm.
destinations were Mahabaleshwar, Goa, Simla, typical where
Hmm.
everybody
Hmm.
goes. And March tha, to my lectures were not going to be there. I would be free from lectures. So I just
Hmm.
said yes, of course, after checking with my family, after checking with my home minister. And 2006 March, I went there. And it was like love at first sight. So I was completely new to this. My friend was senior. He's junior to me by 3 months by age, but
Hmm.
in wildlife he's a decade senior. He's 10 years my senior. So
Hmm.
because he used to stay at Akola, which is near central India, he
Hmm.
had a lot of forests near him, Tadoba,
Hmm. Hmm.
then Pench in Madhya Pradesh, Bandhavgarh in Madhya Pradesh. All of these forests were very close to his house, his
Hmm.
residence, compared to us in Mumbai.
Yeah.
So he used to be a regular visitor for 10 years. And he had planned the trip with such meticulous detail. So, apart from enjoying the trip, I also learned from Ajit how to plan a trip. So making the checklist of what plants or what birds, what animals we want to see, which areas they will be seen in, then which is the best guide of that area, how much in advance that guide needs to be booked, then which mode of transport would be the best. And you won't imagine, normally people go for 3 or 4 safaris.
Hmm.
There's a morning safari, there's an evening safari. People will normally plan a 2 nights, 3 days trip. But
Hmm.
Ajit had planned a 5 nights trip. So since it is Assam, we flew from here to Kolkata by
Hmm.
flight. Then
Hmm.
from Kolkata to Guwahati, another flight. And from Guwahati, it was a 4 hour road trip. So one
Okay.
full day was spent in traveling, and another full day, last day was spent in traveling back.
Hmm.
And so it was a 1 week trip, including 5 days in the forest.
Oh.
And the way it was planned, the way it was executed, and because he was such an experienced wildlifer, I'm always a very eager student. I am very eager to
Hmm.
learn from anyone. I am even right now, Yash, I'm learning few things from you about the mic and all those things.
Oh.
So I picked up a lot of stuff from Ajit, and I cannot thank him enough. I'm full of gratitude. So because I went with him, I was not just focused on the big species. I was not focused only on the tiger or elephant. I took joy in looking at the little birds, the jewel bug. The jewel bug is like a small insect which glows like a jewel.
Kazwa.
And then the spiders. Yeah, there are so many such species which
Hmm.
normally people ignore. लोग जंगल में जाते हैं और बोलते हैं अरे कुछ नहीं दिखा,
Hmm.
टाइगर नहीं दिखा, तो people will say कुछ नहीं दिखा. But there are so many species that you can see. So because I went with Ajit, I fell in love with wildlife, and then, as they say, it continued.
ओके सो लाइक वाइल्ड लाइफ मध्ये बहुत कुछ आता है मतलब बहुत कुछ आता है वाइल्ड लाइफ फोटोग्राफी वाइल्ड लाइफ ट्रैवलिंग लाइक प्लानिंग दिस ट्रैवल्स एज यू सेड सो what was like you went into wildlife photography bird watching is the thing you do what's that stuff wildlife photography bird watching
So first of all, Yash, for all the viewers out there, if
hmm.
anybody is thinking that there can be a career in wildlife photography,
Hmm.
I would say it's a 1 in a million chance. So all those wildlife photographers who are posting regularly, but
Hmm.
who are not professional wildlifers,
Hmm.
all of them are having good funds. People who are well set in life in terms of business, who are well set in their job, who are having a six-figure salary. None of the students, if there are any students or youngsters who are going to wildlife, it is because they have a rich papa or mama. Okay. So wildlife photography is not supposed to be a great professional thing in India, at least right now. Okay, you can always have it as a supplementary thing. If you want to be a photographer, then there are a lot of other genres, model photography, fashion photography, jewelry, food, so many of them. But please don't think about wildlife photography as a career at the moment. Very difficult. I'm not saying it is impossible, but it is very difficult to make a career. That is one thing. Now, I personally went into wildlife, fell in love with jungles, fell in love with nature. And to keep a record of my visits, I started photography. When I went to my first trip, I didn't even have my big telephoto lens. I borrowed it from someone. So the मोठी lens असते ना, if you
एकदम हाता एवढी मोठी.
Yeah, this is what it is. So now this is the kind of telephoto lens that I use. This is the camera body. Nikon. Right from start, I have been a Nikon user. Then there is binoculars, which is extremely useful for bird watching. And then there is a small lens which is called a macro lens. So this is used for
insects,
photographing the small species
like insects,
like the insects and spiders and all that stuff.
Yeah, but
So
yeah. Go on, sir.
So this photography thing is a very costly hobby, to be frank. Now this lens, for example, costs 50,000 rupees. Or the telephoto lens I showed you cost around upwards of 4 lakhs. And the body will cost you ranging from, for using such equipment, you should have a body of at least 70 to 80,000. And the top line, there is no limit. There are just the camera bodies worth 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, and so on. Full frame cameras. So first and foremost, make a career and then get into it. Now I got into photography because of my liking for the jungles, and of course because I have got good family support. It's a family business. So sometimes if I am low on cash, I can borrow it from my parents or from my wife, and then I can return it to them. So unless you have someone who can fund it, don't get into it. Second thing, it is a very rewarding hobby. But big mistake many people make is they buy a camera and the next day they have dash photography page. I find it very funny. I have been photographing for last 14 years, but I have almost 15 years now. I have still not had Avirat Shete photography as a page. Although if you go on and check out on my Insta or my Facebook, you will find some decent photographs, from various locations. I'm not that bad. But then I know that there are Bap log up there, and I have a lot to achieve if I have to get to that level. Yeah. So, but do we need to have a camera too big to go into the jungles? Not at all. There are many of my friends who are simply nature lovers or bird watchers. All you need is a good pair of binoculars. Binoculars can start from, if you want, anybody wants to note it down, it's Olympus a 10 by 50 or Olympus 8 by 16. This is like 3,000-4,000 rupees binoculars which you can use, and it can easily last you for more than a decade. My binoculars are 10 years old. By the way, all the equipment I showed you is 10 years old. I have stored it in a special cabinet. This is called a dry cabinet or a dehumidifier. You know that in Mumbai and around, there is a lot of humidity. And for camera, the biggest enemy is moisture. Yeah. So to keep it free of moisture, I have kept it in this. I invested some 18,000 rupees in buying this cabinet 10 years ago. So my equipment is still good enough. So you need to be, first of all, before you invest into a heavy equipment, one, finance. Second, whether you can take care of it. Don't buy if you can't take care of it. And then third thing, even without the camera, You can go into the jungles, be a bird watcher, be a nature watcher. There is a lot of joy, a lot of happiness in watching birds, in watching butterflies. If at any point of time you just want to feel free, feel awesome, just
Yeah.
stand at your window and watch the birds.
Hmm.
Even the pigeons. Now, in our cities, you will not see anything more than pigeons and crows. But even if you watch them take flight, the way they take off, there is beauty in that. And then when you go to jungles, if you get to see a crested serpent eagle or a big vulture taking off from the branches, with their
Hmm.
3-4 foot wingspan, it is a mesmerizing moment. It is a very, very beautiful moment. And not just the big ones, even the chintu ones. We think that the sparrow is the smallest. No, there are birds which are smaller than the sparrow also.
Yeah.
And if you see those small, tiny birds, so small yet so colorful, it makes you fall in love with Mother Nature all over again. What an artist nature is.
Yeah.
So, check it out.
Yeah, but sir, as you said, being a wildlife, if you want to go to bird watching, you need observation skill. Because I went to bird watching once, and they were like, "वो देख वहाँ है, वो देख वहाँ है," and I was like, "किधर? कहाँ दिख रहा है तुम लोग को?" मेरे को दिख ही नहीं रहा. Like I felt such a fool. Like मैं बता रहा, अरे हाँ हाँ हाँ, अरे हाँ रे मस्त है, पर I never saw that thing. I didn't even know how it looks like. But yeah, you need observation skill for that too.
See, what you have been through, I have been through in 2006, 2007. So, I perfectly understand what you are saying. When my friends who were experienced birders, bird watchers are called birders.
Yeah.
So I used to go with them. I used to feel exactly like that, a fool. धीरे धीरे वो नजर डेवलप होती है इनिशियली especially if it's a green bird, like there is a bird called a leaf bird. So if it's a green bird in a green tree, how are you going to see it?
Hmm,
But
hmm,
then
hmm.
slowly and steadily, as you keep going, as you keep joining more experienced people, your
Yeah.
observation skills will improve. And these
Yeah.
skills, there are some signals which we birders use that now you can't point out, because if you point out to a bird, it will get scared and fly away.
Hmm,
So
hmm.
if I want to show you a bird and it's like at that side, I would say, Yash, look 2 o'clock. So look,
Hmm,
2 o'clock is like the hands of the watch.
hmm, hmm.
And these are the signals that we use. Then there are techniques of how you can approach the bird slowly and stealthily without disturbing the bird. So normally don't walk straight towards the bird, go crisscross and so on. So I would suggest, Yash, if you actually want to do this, keep
Hmm.
going and keep going with groups, or at least with friends who are more experienced, who will
Yeah.
help you to find and notice and observe birds. Observation skill, and these skills actually, they help you when you are riding a bike or driving a car on the roads. Suddenly somebody
Yeah.
comes from the wrong side. Suddenly someone tries to cut you. It helps me. I have even got caught hold of some mischievous students also in my lectures. So I am like looking at my board and writing, and then there near the pillar, and they are like, "Isko kahan se malum pada?"
It increases your
So
reflexes. That's what
yeah,
it does.
and your peripheral vision also improves, all thanks to bird watching.
Yeah, yeah. But that example was great. Like, क्या करते हैं? Yeah. But sir, if I am going in bird watching, there would have been some really great experiences. Like you have been wildlife enthusiast since 14 years or 15 years now. So there have been many more experiences. Like anyone, if you can share.
There are many. So picking up right in my first trip itself, it was a scary experience. Those who have seen my TEDx talk know about it.
Hmm.
So in our first or second safari, uh, we were on our way out of the jungle. It was just around a kilometer out, and our path was blocked by a group of elephants. Not a group, I would say a huddle, just like the
Hmm.
one they have in cricket, all the cricketers. So there was 5-6 elephants were standing right on the road, and there was no way we could go back, because on that side the gate was very far away.
Hmm.
So, and it was already dusk. The sun had started setting, and it would be getting dark soon. So our guide Punen Gogoi, he was a very experienced guide. He said, "हम इनको भगाता है." अब national park में you're not supposed to get down from a gypsy, from the
Hmm.
jeep. So he took the vehicle a bit ahead and he banged on the door. Now I'll just, if I can make you hear it.
Yeah.
Now, here in the city, it won't sound like a big sound, a big noise. But in the jungle where there is absolute silence, that sound was deafening. And I was there for the first time in my life. And for me, it was getting a bit edgy. थोड़ा सा डर लगने लगा था. And सामने तो he said that, I asked him, why are the elephants standing like this? He said उनका वो जो आसपास की इधर घास में उनको predator का बू आता है, कोई tiger या leopard होगा, and they can smell an animal which can kill their babies. So they are, to protect them, they are standing like this. Now we will have to force our way out. And he started banging on the door, and then he suddenly stands in the gypsy and does loudly. And I was like, "Arey, kya kar raha hai bhai?" But then he was the most experienced guide, and we had to trust him. Yeah. And as he took his vehicle ahead, suddenly 4 elephants from that group, 2 fully grown females and 2 sub-adults, a little younger, they broke free from the group and they charged at us. They gave us a head-on charge. Now imagine you are in your first ever jungle trip and there are 4 elephants weighing between 2,000 to 3,000 kilos each. And so total around 8 to 10,000 kilos rushing at you. And the sun is setting, the sky is orange. Just try to visualize this. Elephants are running at you, dust is rising, clouds of dust, and their fan-like ears. And then the trumpet. The trumpeting doesn't sound scary when you hear it on TV. Yeah. But when you hear it in an open jungle, I shapath, blood freeze. It is a blood freezing moment. And me and my friend Ajit, we were both standing in the gypsy with our cameras ready. But when this happened, I forgot all about clicking. All I could think was, सब ये अभी आएंगे, हमारी गाड़ी को उड़ाएंगे तो फिर गाड़ी उड़ जाएगी, फिर हम नीचे गिर जाएंगे, फिर हम, and the grass in Kaziranga is elephant grass, as tall as elephants. तो हम लोग घुस जाएंगे झाड़ियों में, फिर हमारे पीछे आएंगे, घास पे क्या क्या होगा, फिर मैं बचूंगा क्या, अरे मैं क्यों ये जंगल में आया, मेरी बेटी है घर पे 1 साल की 1.5 साल की. So many thoughts were flashing through my mind. My friend Ajit, he knew that it is a mock charge. Mock charge मतलब खाली हुल मर रहे. Because their primary objective was not to hurt us. Their primary objective was to save their babies from the tiger or leopard. So they just came up to 100 meters of our vehicle or 50 meters and they rushed back and they again stood in a huddle. My friend knew it was a mock charge and he got some crazy photos, kick-ass photos. These pictures were published in a magazine also at that time. And me, I was standing with my camera and lens like, oh. I was shocked, paralyzed. So I learned an important lesson. बाद में अजीत बहुत हंसा मेरे पे, but then I told him कि अबे तेरे को क्या जाता है हंसने को, मेरा first time था. He told me that you need to know the jungle behavior. You need to understand that normally animals will not attack humans. And it's a fact. Very rarely will any animal attack the humans for no reason. If they want to protect their young ones, or if, now for example, लोग म्हणतात की अरे तो हरणटोळ नावाचा साप असतो, green vine snake, which stays on trees, वो इधर मारता है, ऐसा there is a myth कि वो आदमी पे इधर वार करता है, रुकता है वो. Now tell me, that snake is arboreal. That snake is arboreal. Arboreal मतलब tree dwelling. Now if you are, let's say you are at Amboli or Matheran and you are, you are playing a flying disc with your friends, and suddenly your flying disc or frisbee, it goes into the bushes. Now you go to search for that. You pick up that frisbee and in that, somewhere on the tree, this snake is resting. And you happen to disturb him. You didn't want to disturb the snake. Happened by fluke. But then the snake is going to react. And the snake is not going to say, hey, ithe काय करतोय? Why are you coming here?
देख के चलना, ऐसा नहीं बोलेगा.
That snake will have only one thing to do. It cannot growl, it cannot bark, it cannot. So it will only bite. It is a reaction. या सांप के पैर पूंछ पे अगर आपने पैर रखा तो वो सांप आपके पैर को डंक मारने वाला है. So people label animals as cruel or dangerous. It is actually our carelessness which causes harm to us. So I have been to so many places where I have been like 2 feet away from a snake, or in Tadoba, the tiger has walked right past my jeep in an open gypsy. Or even in Kenya, the lion was like right outside my vehicle. I could have patted that and caressed his mane. इतना नजदीक. आपको हाथ लगाने का नहीं होता है, नहीं तो आप मैं यहाँ नहीं आता इस पॉडकास्ट पे, मेरा फोटो लगा होता किधर. So please understand that animals are not dangerous. They will harm us if they react.
Okay. And sir, आपके इतना तो मैंने ट्रैवल नहीं किया है. लाइक आई हैव नेवर बीन आउटसाइड महाराष्ट्र, बट जितना मैंने ट्रॅव्हल केला, आय हॅव बीन टू आंबोली, बिकॉज बिंग कोकणी, बिंग फ्रॉम मालवण, आंबोलीला जाणलं तर पाहिजेच. हा,
बरोबर.
सो आय वेंट टू आंबोली अँड people there, like, don't go to hotels and stuff. Yeah, if you are holiday person, you want break, go to hotels. But if you want to like explore things, talk to the people right outside. Just धबधब्याच्या समोर तुम्हाला एक वडापावचा स्टॉल असेल, talk to them guys. They have lots and lots of stories. Like, they have hell, like you will never imagine what stories they have. And the stories they tell, their way of telling those stories, like तू वड़ा पाव खाते रहे, मैं मस्त बात करता है तेरे से. So yeah, so have you experienced any such incidents, like, okay, मैं इनसे बात कर रहा, and I have learned a lot from those people?
A lot of them. Uttarakhand is one of my favorite places to go. Uttarakhand mein there are beautiful jungles, birding destination, as well as trekking places. So there are. I've been with the locals. I have stayed in tents. I have stayed without electricity, and हम 2 दिन 3 दिन जाते हैं वहां पर, बट वो रोज ये सब सहन कर रहे हैं. कभी कभी उनके घर के बाहर टाइगर या कोई हिमालयन बेयर, ब्लैक बेयर आके जाता है. So for you and me, these things, we take our security and our comforts for granted. But these people go through it every day. Now in Uttarakhand, there are normally ladies do all the hard labor, in the remote areas. So पहाड़ों पे जाना, पत्ते या wood cut करके firewood के लिए, चूल्हा जलाने के लिए वगैरह लेके आना. वो ladies जाती हैं and they will carry load of like 15-20 kilograms on their back on slopes, and they will walk as sure footed as a mountain goat. एक बार पैर कभी स्लिप नहीं होगा. ये सब करते वक्त भी they are always smiling, they are humming songs, so they give you a lot of positivity. Now I used to be a regular gym going person, a gym freak, and I thought कि यार ये 20 किलो जिम में तो 50 किलो उठा लेते हैं. तो वो लेडीज जब ऐसा स्लोप उतर के आई एंड उन्होंने वो सामान नीचे रखा, तो आई सेड लेट मी चेक इफ आई कैन लिफ्ट दिस. बिलीव मी, आई ट्राइड इन सो मेनी डिफरेंट वेज, आई कुड नॉट मूव इट. सो लिफ्टिंग 25 kilos of dumbbells or a bar in a gym is a different thing. It's an easy thing. But lifting the same weight, which is in odd shape, is a very, very different ball game altogether. So hats off to all these guys who live a tough life, yet they are always smiling.
Yeah.
And an interesting incident I would like to tell you from Kenya, where the Maasais, the Masai Mara is the place where we had gone. So the tribals there are called Maasais. They are warriors and they are cowherds also. So their wealth is counted in the number of cattle they have. You must have surely read about this in geography.
Yeah.
So we visited their village. They showed us around the village. Their chief was English educated. So the others were speaking in the local tribal language, but this guy was speaking in English. And after they showed us around the village, we then sat down and we were just having some chit chat. And he suddenly turns to me and he asked me in his loud booming voice, he was like 6 feet tall, and he said, "Hey, Avi, how many cows do you own back in India?" I said, none. I don't have any cows. So all the five, six of them were like, because I had said none. So they understood ki zero. And they were like, aisa kaisa. And then he asked me, how many wives do you have? And I said, one. And they all burst out laughing. Because in the Maasais, they allow polygamy. You can have more than one wife. So this chief, he slaps my back with his big black hand and he says, you must come to the Mara and become a Maasai. Then you can have as many cows and as many wives as you want. तो जितना चाहिए उतनी गाय भी खरीद सकता है और बीवी भी हो रख सकता है. अभी तक वो ऑफर लिया नहीं है. 2015 में ऑफर मिला था.
But that's great. Like the way he would have, like you would have imagined. I am imagining it like, oh, bol as many as life you, as many as wives. Go on. But yeah, and I have a bucket list. Like I want to do this stuff in my life before dying. I don't know if I will, but I want to do that stuff. And one of that is skydiving, all alone, not with a trainer, but all alone. I want to learn the skill of skydiving. And yeah, you have done
All the best.
skydiving. Yeah, you have done skydiving. And what was that like?
First thing, I was not alone. It was a tandem skydive. So I jumped with an instructor because for doing a solo skydive, you need to undergo a lot of training.
Yeah.
You need to invest those many days,
And
like what we saw in the
license.
movie ZNMD.
Yeah.
But I had gone for a holiday, family holiday in Australia, and my uncle stays there, my mama stays there, and it was there on my bucket list. I had to do it. So my brother had done it a couple of years earlier, so I was also very keen on experiencing that. So me and my daughter, at that time she was under 13 years, and we both went to the Wollongong Skydiving Center in Australia. Wollongong is a suburb in Sydney, just like we have, Mulund or Bhandup near Mumbai. Wollongong is on the outskirts of Sydney. So we went there and we registered for the dive. It was a walk-in and you could register, you had to take insurance. And it was a very thrilling experience. So first thing, have you ever traveled in an aeroplane without seatbelt? Some people will say, yes, I have.
No.
But have you ever sat on the floor when the plane was taking off? Have you ever sat facing the other way? The plane is going this way and you are seated there. And have you sat near the entrance, near the exit door, which was made of transparent material, and you could see it like this, like this. So as the plane was taking off, I had thoughts in my mind कि पागलपन कर रहा है, क्यों कर रहा है? पैसे भरे $400, $400 भरे और तू पागल जैसा जंप करने जा रहा है. And then I asked my instructor, बीच में येलो पाउच लगाया था, apart from the parachute and all that he had on his back. So yellow pouch. So I asked him, what is this for? He said, oh, in case the wind blows us off into the ocean, then this is a life jacket, so you need to blow it up. मैं बोला अरे ऐसा अगर हुआ तो he said, I asked him, has it happened with you? He was a Greek guy and he had jumped 700 times. So he had 700 dives under his belt. So he said, yeah, a few times. मैं बोला अरे यार अभी अपने साथ हुआ तो कपड़े गीले हो जाएंगे. And thankfully wallet and all was kept in the car, so I was not worried about that. But the dive went well and I had to make sure that I kept a smiling face because I was the first to jump before my daughter. So had I freaked out and had I panicked, it would have affected her also. And then it was amazing. So for the first 10,000 feet, we jumped from 14,000 feet. For the first 10,000 feet, you drop like a rock. It's like, they call it free fall. They call it free fall and you fall at a speed of 200 kilometers an hour. And then at around 4,000 feet, he opened his parachute and then after that it was gliding like an eagle. He even allowed me to operate my parachute. He said, you can take it left, right. It was a beautiful experience. I could see the suburb of Wollongong. I could see the Pacific Ocean. I could see the waves, and I could see the beach goers. And exactly from where we had left off, we landed. Of course, the landing was done by Sandros, the
Instructor.
tandem instructor. But it is an experience which all of you must have. Another one on my bucket list is bungee
Yeah,
jumping, which
that's what I was gonna ask you. Like,
I had
can we do
actually
bungee jump?
gone again in Australia at Cairns, which is to the north of Australia. I had got, I mean, I had intention of doing a bungee over there, but unfortunately, the jumping site was not free that day. It was booked by a private party, and I lost my chance.
Can't
Someday
we
later.
do can't we do bungee jumping in India itself? Like, is
Yes,
there?
yes. Rishikesh is a destination where we can go for bungee jumping, and there are good instructors in Rishikesh. I think AJ Hackett also has one in Rishikesh. AJ Hackett is the guy who started bungee jumping in New Zealand. He was the first one in the world to start bungee jumping. You can Google AJ Hackett, and you also find out the history of how bungee jumping started. He used to jump off from bridges, and he used to do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
He actually experimented on himself.
And now it's like $1 million
It's a
business, bungee
global
jumping.
sport. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's business too. Yeah, and it's like for the wildlifers out there, it's really great to have like there are three things I will do, like skydiving, as I told, bungee jumping, and third is scuba diving at Great Barrier Reef. That's one, like I have seen it
Oh, I
in
experienced
Discovery
that
Channel.
too.
Oh,
I did that
I am
also,
just
and
like now क्या हुआ बताओ मेरे को.
it's a beautiful experience. It is beyond words. There is a different, I would say, a different universe down there. You cannot imagine the colors of the fishes, the colors of the coral, uh, the gentle waves, and you need to overcome your fear. Those of you who are
Hmm.
afraid of the water, you need to overcome your fear. You are going to be diving with instructors who are highly experienced. For them, it is a source of earning income. So they would
Hmm.
not want any tourist to have a bad experience. So they will go out of their way to ensure, one, your safety, two, that you have a great experience. Only then you will go back and tell people or give them great reviews on TripAdvisor or Google. So
Yeah.
first thing is, whenever, I mean, for all of you doubting Thomases, all of you who always doubt, ये बराबर होगा क्या, ये प्रोडक्ट अच्छा होगा क्या, ये सर्विस अच्छा होगा क्या, guys, please remember, if you are going to a place which thrives on tourism, you are
Hmm.
in safe hands. Like
Yeah.
20 years back, when we had been to Mahabaleshwar, at that time, I had asked my hotel manager, because our hotel was a bit off location and not near the market. It was a bit in the
Hmm.
near the valley. So I had asked him, is it safe to come back at 9 o'clock in the night? And he told me, sir, even if you come back at midnight or even at 2 a.m., no one will touch your hair. Even if you have ladies with you, rest assured, because here our livelihood depends on tourism. So we will never allow anything bad to happen to a tourist, to a
Yeah.
traveler. So rest assured. So I was so happy listening to that everybody will take care of you, because nobody wants our destination to have a black mark.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
जाइए, enjoy कीजिए और भरोसा रखिए.
Yeah, this was Avirat, sir. And sir, I would like to ask you the last question. Like, what will you give an advice to a youngster who is into wildlife, who wants to travel whole world and experience like such an amazing things, like we said, bungee jumping and stuff. So, what will you give advice to that kid?
All right. So I don't give advices. I'll give a suggestion, because youngsters don't like
Okay.
advices.
Yeah.
uh, First of all, my name is pronounced as Avirat. Avirat is a Sanskrit word which means perpetual, continuous, satat, athak. And I want all of you to enjoy life, Avirat. I want all of you to have great fun in life. Be passionate about whatever you do, whether you are working in an office or running a business, or teaching like me, or leading a wildlife trip to a jungle or to Everest base camp, make sure that you enjoy each and every moment. आने वाला पल जाने वाला है, हो सके तो इसमें जिंदगी बिता दो, पल जो ये जाने वाला है. So जो कुछ भी करो ना, इसको enjoy करो. Now, one thing, if you want to travel the world, you don't need to have a lot of money. You just need to have very limited wants. You need to have very limited wants. No love for brands, fancy stuff. Keep all of that away. Live a simple life. I know people who are middle class but who have traveled to 40, 50 countries. They don't spend throughout the year. They live a very frugal life, a very simple life. They save money. I don't know if you have heard of that couple from Kolkata and one couple from Kerala who have traveled to 80, 90 countries, and उसमें से एक जन तो चाय का स्टॉल चला रहा है, उसमें से एक जन तो टेलर है. They just live a simple life. There is that Kolkata family couple. They have never missed a FIFA World Cup. Football का World Cup जहाँ भी होता है जाते. And they live such a life कि उनको देख के लगेगा भी नहीं कि ये फॉरेन जा सकते. So we have a wrong perception in our mind that we have to have a lot of money to visit a foreign country. No. Even when I was in Corbett National Park near Nainital some 10, 12 years back, I had met a solo traveler from US, Candace Brown from Boston, US. She used to work for like 7 months, 8 months, then give up her job and travel the world for 4 months. Every year she used to do that.
Just like Katrina
Every
Kaifin's
year.
head and MD.
Only backpack, laptop, iPad. That was her wealth. That's it. And she said that before coming here to India, I went to to Indonesia. I went to see the Komodo dragons. Before that, I went to Antarctica. And now my money is almost over. So I am going to fly back to the US, pick up a job for 6 to 8 months, then again dump the job and travel. Main problem is we Indians cannot live like this. We want comforts. मेरा 3-4 BHK का घर होना चाहिए, मेरे पास कार होनी चाहिए, मेरा AC होना चाहिए, मेरे पास ब्रांड होनी चाहिए कबड़ भर के, तो फिर ये सब नहीं कर सकते. Then you need to have, then I'll tell you another रास्ता. आपको ऐसा रिस्क नहीं लेना है ना, सिंपल लाइफ नहीं जीना है ना, तो आप 10 साल after you have finished your education for 10 years work, ढेर सारा पैसा जमा करके रखो कि बाद में 5 साल कुछ नहीं किया तो भी आप आराम से एंजॉय कर सकते हो. Then you can. Or else, every year plan a budget and make sure that you travel with that budget.
अभी आपने बोला ना, I am just going back to ZNMD because Hrithik Roshan was like पैसा कमा, फिर रिटायर हो जाएंगे. And then the girl you talked about was like Katrina Kaif, like 7 महीने जॉब, 4 महीने घूमेंगे मस्त.
कल अगर जिंदा नहीं रहे तो क्या करेंगे, कल हो ना हो.
बराबर है. But that would be a crazy life, like 7 months job and going for 4 months outing. But
if you are a free bird, if you don't have family, if you don't have responsibility of kids, if you don't have responsibility of parents, or if they are able to take care so long, then you can do all this stuff.
Yeah, that's like crazy. And talking about crazy stuff, what was like, I am just hyped now. Like I said last question, but yeah, I am hyped now. What was your craziest experience? Like craziest, like you never imagined it will happen.
Oh, craziest experience. Okay, 2 of them, but both of them related to the same trip in Kenya, Masai Mara. I was photographing a lion which was walking towards us. Now the vehicle was open from above, so 3 or 4 of my friends who were there, they were photographing from above. But in photography, eye level plays a big role. If you have seen in a wedding or a reception, you will always see the photographer standing at par with the stage.
Yeah.
So if the stage is high, the photographer will make sure that he has a chair or a stage on which he stands, and then he clicks photos. Otherwise, all photos will be from this angle. And then you will be looking like this into the camera. So I wanted to have an eye level. So I got down in my vehicle. Of course, I wasn't getting out. I got in, I sat on the floor of my vehicle and I took my telephoto lens out and I was clicking nicely. He was walking towards me and I was getting nice head on picture. And then I suddenly found that my lens is not focusing. My lens is not focusing. And I was like, why is it not focusing? And I just took my camera away for a second to check if the settings have gone wrong. And the lion was right outside my window. Like big face, big face. And I had my heart in my mouth. Of course, he was not interested in me. वो तो ऐसे ही चला गया बाजू से. But for that moment, I was like,
हे काय
frozen.
झालं?
Yeah, and same trip, when we had gone for a hot air balloon ride, we saw the jungle from above. And when we got down and we had a bush, a breakfast in the bush. So they have that service there where they will serve you live buffet in the bush, in the Masai Mara. And they got chairs. एकदम सब जो movies में देखा ना पुराना colonial style अंग्रेजों का, all that experience we had. And then when the vehicle came and we sat back in the vehicle and we drove, we saw that 200 meters from where we were having breakfast, there was a lion couple. मतलब they were seeing us all the while. We were unaware of their presence. Suddenly जो खाया था वो सब पेट में घुमा. And I would like to end this with a motivating experience that we had at Everest Base Camp. Everest Base Camp, guys, it is a dream destination. There are so many beautiful. मतलब I could do a live session, a 1 hour session only on Everest Base Camp. And
Definitely we will
right
do it in coming future, sir.
from 2,500 meters, you start walking. You land at the world's most dangerous airport. People can Google it. It is called Lukla Airport. And from there, you trek every day for a few hundred meters and you reach 5,350 meters an hour, which is EBC, Everest Base Camp. And then you come back. It is an amazing experience. I met people from like 36 different countries. I met people from 8 years old to 79 years old who were trekking. But the most interesting experience was meeting a lady from Australia called Sue, S-U-E. And she was 74 years young, I would say, 74 saal ki jawan aurat thi. And she was a breast cancer survivor. And even after that, she decided to complete the Everest Base Camp for the 5th time. And this time she had come with her daughter. And we met her, we clapped for her when we came to know about her story. And then after a few days, we came to know that she was finding it difficult to breathe because of her, chemotherapy had taken place few months back and she was not very fit. And her daughter and her other friends said that Sue could not continue. And so she was waiting back at the next lower camp for us. And we felt so sad. Then when we finished our base camp and we were coming back towards the Lukla, we saw Sue alone with her guide. Uska group to आगे जा चुका था. Sue was again climbing up. And we asked her, Sue, what happened? We heard that you were not going to continue. And she says that, I might never again come back. I might never get a chance to be here in my favorite mountains again. So I thought, might as well push myself and finish this. What an inspiration. What an amazing inspiration that lady was. Brilliant.
Yeah. That's amazing. So that's too amazing. That's too motivating story. So this was Avirat sir, guys, a wildlife traveler, wildlife photographer, and amazing and coolest teacher. And Avirat sir do a live stream on his Instagram channel. So go watch it. It's really great. I did watch the one where you sang songs. So yeah, but there is great, and you can watch it. Go follow Avirat sir. Link is in the description. So thank you for watching, guys. It was really motivating to have you on podcast, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. All the best to you and everyone. Take
Yeah,
care.
and I hope we can do more podcast if possible.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you for watching,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.